Well, good morning, everybody. I'm meteorologist Taylor Stephenson here with your Weather Plus for today, and we're going to dive into three topics from weather around the nation today. So let's get right into it. For the first thing I want to say is that 13 News Now, we are stationed in Norfolk, Virginia, in the Mid-Atlantic, but we have this weather stream 5 days a week, so you can stream us and make sure you get all the local and national weather your heart desires. So for today, we are talking this stream. We are talking three topics. Winter wonderland for parts of the north. This winter wonderland comes as we have lake effect snow. And I'll show you a clip of how that affected a football game this weekend. We also have fire safety and active wildfires in the U.S. as portions of the U.S. are still underneath portions of a drought. We are also watching for that as well. But also during this time of year is one of the seasons where we see the most active house fires as well, with people burning more wood, starting more of those chimneys, but also using space heaters in the house. And then we'll bring it back locally. Below normal temperatures for the Mid-Atlantic are in store for today and really for the foreseeable future. So there's a lot to talk about. Let's get right into it. Topic number one is going to be so much snow, and that's for the Northeast. Sorry for my friends who love snow in the Mid-Atlantic or the South. You will not be seeing snow today, but there are places that are. So right now, here's our satellite and radar, and it shows you the few places that are seeing a little bit of snow. Right now, as you see, it's still lake effect snow going on across the Great Lakes. So anywhere just south of Buffalo to the east of Buffalo, getting into portions of extreme southern Canada. So just north of Toronto, we're also seeing some of that snow as well. Parts of Pennsylvania seeing that lake effect. Getting into Michigan, we also are seeing lake effect snow again in the northern parts of the state, in the now western parts of the state, as you see, getting close to parts of the eastern portions of Lake Michigan. So Grand Rapids seeing some of that light to wet snow on the western side, South Haven as well, down to Benton, Michigan. Now on the other side of the country, we also are seeing some snow tripling down basically between Canada down into Montana, getting into North Dakota, but very, very isolated in this sense for snow at the moment. But we are expecting a big low pressure system that will actually clip us here in the Mid-Atlantic on Thursday into Friday. That will bring another round of snow. But in parts of the Northeast, specifically in New York, there was a big game for football where the Buffalo Bills and another team from the NFL who originate out of California, they were seeing snow during the game. Here's Rhiannon Anali, who has the latest on this package.
It was a winter wonderland. The Buffalo Bills hosting the San Francisco 49ers last night as 5 states around the Great Lakes get pounded by what could be historic lake effect snow. One fan seen here tossing a snowball through the uprights trying to block a field goal. Just hours earlier, the team paid people $20 an hour to shovel out the stadium. One town in upstate New York has already seen nearly 59 inches of snow as of last night. It's all blamed on the frigid air that's passing over the relatively warm lake water.
Here in Watertown, some businesses had to abruptly close in the middle of the day because some of their employees just couldn't make it to work on these roads.
The National Guard called up to rescue stranded drivers in Erie, Pennsylvania, where even plow drivers got stuck.
And this is measured, unfortunately, in feet and not inches during this event. So I would just echo that. Stay home, stay home, stay home.
All coming amid a predicted record number of travelers coming home from the Thanksgiving weekend. Few problems have been reported, but one Delta flight making headlines.
Folks, this is the captain. We're just waiting for the police to come on board.
A woman who somehow boarded a flight from New York's JFK airport to Paris without a ticket still has not returned to the U.S. Officials say she's a Russian national who was legally living in the U.S. and had applied for asylum in France. She was supposed to return over the weekend, but was reportedly unruly on the flight back.
This is a pretty puzzling thing because there are so many safeguards to prevent somebody who doesn't have the proper ticket and boarding pass from getting on an airplane. There's a lot of work to be done to figure out exactly how this happened.
The TSA says the woman was fully screened, but it's unclear how she bypassed the document check podium and the gate agent. Rhiannon Alley, ABC News, New York.
And like Rhiannon was saying, it's all a part of this lake effect snow, right? So how does lake effect snow form? Let's talk about it. So you have to have, of course, a big body of water. In this case, in the U.S., a lot of times it happens around the Great Lakes. You have warmer water, and then you have colder land around it. What happens is you start to get a wind over the water, and the cold air moves over this warm water, and the heat and moisture from the water causes clouds to form. That cold air rushes over it, so the clouds grow bigger and bigger and move inland. As it does so, this develops really heavy rain bands and, really heavy snow bands, so that you get a lot of snow downstream. So places like Buffalo, New York, where we did have those big pile-ups of snow during the 49ers and Bills game this past weekend, they were playing in the snow. Now, I will say, not to give one team an edge or the other, probably pretty hard for people who play for San Francisco to work and play football in these types of environments. I'm sure the Bills are very used to it, but it gives you a very big winter wonderland like the scene behind me. Now, lake effect snow again near those big bodies of water. Can it happen over places like the Chesapeake Bay here in the mid-Atlantic? Sure, but on a more minor level. Right now, though, not expecting any snow in Hampton Roads, at least for the next few days. Now, Rhiannon also talked about traveling. It's a big travel day for us. Monday today being the last big day for the rest of Thanksgiving weekend. So if you're heading out and about, this is what you should know throughout the day. Temperatures in the Northeast, cold in the upper 30s. Cold still here, anywhere from New York City all the way down to Raleigh, lower to middle 40s at best. Orlando, Atlanta, New Orleans, slightly warmer, but not great, especially by Florida and Gulf standards. Middle 60s for highs is pretty cold for our friends in Florida. But as you see, a lot of sunshine to go around the East Coast. It's where we're seeing some of that snow is going to be some places into the Great Lakes. We're talking places like Chicago, seeing sunshine, but temperatures in the upper 20s. Minneapolis, middle 20s and a lot of snow. St. Louis, you'll see some snow as well, lower 30s. And then into parts of the South, we're talking middle 50s to upper 60s, anywhere from Oklahoma City all the way down to Houston. Then into the western parts of the country, middle 40s for Billings, Montana, upper 40s for Denver. Getting out west, San Francisco, again, we just talked about them. They're seeing middle 60s and sunshine. So being out in Buffalo, where they had below freezing temperatures and lake effect snow, a really big difference in gameplay. Upper 60s in Los Angeles, and again, a little bit of fog there in Seattle, but still cloudy with temperatures in the lower 40s. So mainly across the U.S., if you're heading home today from your Thanksgiving activities, it should be completely okay for most of us. I would just say the lake effect snow in parts of the Great Lakes region in the Midwest may be our only slowdown across the U.S. Now let's talk about house fire and wildfire safety. During this time of the year, we see the most uptick in house fires, some people using space heaters, but also with the dry conditions we've been seeing, it has sparked a lot of wildfires as well. So here are the active wildfires across the area at the moment. And what we're seeing with these wildfires is mainly the majority of them being right around parts of the mid to deep south. So I'll take you area by area to show you what's going on in terms of active wildfires. Active wildfire 2 up in Canada. The Northeast looks pretty good when it comes to those wildfires. Here in Virginia through Maryland, southern Pennsylvania, we also are still seeing some active wildfires, but few and far between. It's when you get into the deep south is when we start to see a lot of those wildfires really sparking anywhere between the Carolinas up in through Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, continuing into eastern parts of Texas, and then scattered about in Oklahoma. across parts of Kansas and Missouri, and an isolated wildfire or two as you get out west. Mainly the wildfires that we do see out west are going to be concentrated more in places like Oregon and into California. So that's where we're seeing the active wildfires at now. But again, even during this time of the year, we still do see the opportunity for house fires. Now, let's talk more about what to do when it comes to house fires and house safety during the wintertime from our ABC station out in Sacramento.
This Sacramento fire engine can dump nearly 500 gallons of water onto a blaze in minutes.
We send out 4 engines like this.
But firefighters would prefer not to have to use them. They'd rather be in the warmth of the firehouse, but cool weather outside could mean more work.
We see an uptick of calls for service due to HVAC systems, heaters getting kicked on. Once they do get kicked on, they have a little bit of dust on them, and it causes some type of burning scent.
Odd smells are possibly the best case. Firefighters say it could get much worse.
We also get a lot of calls for outside heaters that are being brought inside the home. What that does is not only pose a fire hazard, but it also poses an inhalation hazard for carbon monoxide. What we see with space heaters is them being in close proximity to something that is flammable. So that constant heat on there will warm something up and then cause a fire.
And it's already happened this season. On November 10th, Amador County firefighters say a propane tank attached to a heater was shooting flames 15 to 20 feet in the air. Fortunately, they were able to stop it. Days later, the worst case scenario. This is what was left of an RV that caught fire near Lake Comanche on the 15th. Officials say the cause was a portable electric heater. One person had second-degree burns.
So we want to make sure that when we are using those space heaters, that there is a lot of clearance around that.
In Sacramento County, within the last week, one woman died after a fire in her home was believed to have been linked to her fireplace. Days earlier, an elderly couple had to be rescued by neighbors after a fire broke out at their home. They were taken to the hospital in critical condition. Firefighters say there are many things that could lead to fires this season. Many families spent their weekend at lots like this one, taking home a Christmas tree. And when set up improperly, it's those trees that firefighters say could be another reason they end up in your neighborhood. A little bit of watering now that could keep 4 500-gallon fire engines away from your home this season.
Once the call comes in, we'd like to see us fully dressed within 1 minute. We're always at the ready.
In Sacramento, Gabriel Porras, ABC 10.
And that's a good point. Also with Christmas trees, you need to continue to water them. This is the time of the year, of course, we put up our Christmas decorations. Those trees guzzle down water. If you leave them dry with hot lights on them and near a fireplace, the likelihood of that tree catching on fire is exponentially higher, so be careful. Now, turning our attention back to wildfires, I want to give you a look at if any of your places around your home will see wildfire smoke over the next few days. In the Northeast, we're fine. Again, no active wildfires there. It seems like a few places around the parts of the Deep South, especially in East Texas, may see a few instances of some low to moderate smoke, even out as you get into Little Rock as well. So be careful. If you're one of those people who is more sensitive to smoke, definitely try to wear that mask if you can. And then out in parts of the Northwest, we are seeing a little few pockets of some low smoke possible as we get into Wednesday morning. So across parts of the Deep South and the Northwest, again, be careful with that smoke in place. But here in parts of the Mid-Atlantic, down into parts of Florida and the Deep South, just talking a little bit of that low variety of some wildfire smoke. Overall, mainly concentrated to the Gulf Coast, into the Mid-South, and then up into the Northwest. Now, here in the Mid-Atlantic, are we susceptible to seeing any wildfire danger? And our danger still remains very low, especially out into parts of the Appalachians. Elkins, West Virginia, at 0% or 0 chance of seeing wildfire danger. As you get closer to the water, Norfolk, we are seeing a smaller increase in that chance for some wildfire danger, but still on the low side. So that is the good news in that case. Now, let's switch to our last topic, and that is about the cold weather. It is very, very cold. I want to say freezing. That's the southern in me to say it's freezing. Some places did hit freezing or below today, and that cold weather is here to stay. Here's our live look now from downtown Norfolk. As you see, a lot of sunshine to go around. Unfortunately, that sunshine will not be able to break through parts of the area today in terms of warming us up. Right now, temperatures across the area in the middle 30s to lower 40s. 40 now in Elizabeth City, 40 in Kill Devil Hills, 38 in Norfolk, and 35 in Newport News. But the numbers in that blue color are going to be your wind chills. That's when you add on the breeze, and then it gives you a feels like temperature. So our cold weather feels like temperature comes in the form of a wind chill. Our hot weather feels like temperature comes in the form of a heat index or even a heat indices. So right now, we are seeing feels like temperatures in the middle 30s for places like Kill Devil Hills, middle 20s as you get into the eastern shore and places like Melfa. So definitely bundle up here across the mid-Atlantic. We also saw a couple of isolated showers this morning, a part of an upper level disturbance. A little bit of the satellite and radar caught onto some upper level snowflakes, but that didn't make it to the ground. So for our team snow lovers, I'm sorry, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer for that. But this is where that area was. Anything between Rocky Mount and Eatonton is where that picked up on. But when I looked at it around parts of our radar, around the surface, it didn't make it to the ground. Now, for the rest of the day, expect this north breeze to continue. So wind chills will still be in play throughout the entire day. Temperatures rising, but barely, into the upper 30s to lower 40s. We'll have a lot of sunshine during the afternoon, but again, it won't break through that cold weather at the surface or the cold layer at the surface. So we're talking temperatures at best in the upper 30s to lower 40s today, cooling right on back down overnight with temperatures in the lower 20s inland to the middle 30s as you get in around parts of the Bay and the Atlantic. Is it possible that some of these temperatures inland could fall into the teens? Possibly, but it would have to see if the cloud cover that's possible overnight stays around. Cloud cover helps to keep us insulated overnight so our temperatures don't fall as rapidly or as far. If the cloud cover moves in, then temperatures will stay put. If the cloud cover stays away or at bay, then we are talking the opportunity to see maybe some teens as we wake up tomorrow morning. Now, again, that wind chill going to be in effect for the rest of the day, so feeling more like the lower to middle 30s throughout the entire day today. So make sure you're bundled up, not only today, but tomorrow. Now, we do have a small craft advisory that is going to expire in the next 30 minutes around 10 a.m. And that is for the Bay, for those winds northwest 15 to 20 knots, gusts up to 25. The Bay waters are also very cold, 48 degrees for those waters in the Bay. Waves up to 3 feet. Now, in the Atlantic, we have the same exact winds, but we do not have that small craft advisory, so that's good news. Not as choppy in the Atlantic, seas up to about 5 feet, but still we have those northwest gusts up to about 25 knots. Now, tides today around 9:30 for that high tide, for low tide around 4 p.m. Now, tomorrow it's going to be pretty much a copy and paste of today, except we may be a touch or two warmer than today, where temperatures will start off cold once again. We are going to be in those lower to middle 30s across the area, which means inland again, we're talking some lower to middle 20s. As we get up into the afternoon time, we're going to be in the lower to middle 40s. A lot of sunshine to go around for us here across the mid-Atlantic, but still not able to cut into the fact that we have cold air at the surface. So temperatures tomorrow still 15 to 20 degrees colder than where we should be. Our normal high temperature for this time of year is 58 degrees. So we will be nowhere near that. But we do have a big warm up on the way, and it's all a part of high pressure that will be cold for us, but moving out to sea. And as it moves out to sea, that will give us a south wind that will promote a warm up. So cool for now. We will have a few passing clouds throughout the work week, and then high pressure moves offshore, and that will give us a south wind, pushing our temperatures back into the lower to middle 50s before we get our next system. And that next system will be a clipper system on the horizon. This is Thursday. Team Snow, I still want you guys to hold out for a second. Even though this looks promising, it looks like we won't get that wet weather in time for that cold air to make it transition into snow. Even if we had any moisture, it looks like we'll be lacking Thursday into Friday. But as you see, places like Pennsylvania, West Virginia, New York, all the way up through the Northeast have the really good chance of seeing a good snowstorm going into the end of the work week. For us here across the Mid-Atlantic, we're talking more of just another blast of cold air where temperatures between Thursday afternoon and Friday afternoon will fall 10 to 15 degrees. Now we talk about snow, we talk about rain, we talk about mixed precipitation, but have you ever heard of grapple? It's another type of wintry weather precipitation. Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandagis explains what grapple is.
Grapple, the more elusive precipitation type that is most often misidentified as either hail or sleet. Let's talk about the word grapple itself. It's German in origin and also called soft hail or snow pellets. But how does it form and when can we see it? As with any type of precipitation, its journey begins thousands of feet up in the sky. In grapple's case, it begins as a snowflake. This snowflake descends from the clouds through an upper layer of cold air. The flakes then encounter a shallow layer of air that is above freezing. This partially begins to melt the snowflake, and tiny water droplets begin to stick to the softened snowflakes. As this happens, the snowflake begins to change its appearance to more of a pellet. This newly formed pellet continues its fall towards the ground, and just before hitting the surface, it encounters a layer of below freezing air, reaching the ground as a frozen snow pellet. It looks like this. You can see how this can be confused with hail or sleet. Looks very similar. We like to refer to grapple as looking like Dippin' Dots. Only one flavor served here, though, and that's plain. For 13 News Now, I'm Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandagis.
Okay, that was kind of funny, him talking about plain Dippin' Dots, but it does exactly look like Dippin' Dots. But grapple is not the same as snow, it's not the same as hail, it's not the same as sleet. So a little bit of information on that. Thank you, Tim. Now, looking further ahead into our forecast, where are we going to shake out over the next 6 to 10 days? Well, we should be somewhere below normal still between December the 10th and December the 16th. Now, if we stay on this track of having below normal temperatures, we may go 12 to maybe even 14 days with below normal temperatures, and we'll stay like that at least from now through the next 7 days. Your 5 to 7 day forecast shows temperatures in the lower 40s today. That 15% chance of rain came this morning, and then by the afternoons, heading into Tuesday and Wednesday, we'll be back into the upper 40s, but breezy on Wednesday with wind gusts as high as 25 miles per hour. On Thursday, high pressure moves offshore. That brings us a warm up with south winds. So we'll be back into the lower to middle 50s. Sunshine continues. That Clipper system brings a lot of snowfall to the northeast, but none here to the Mid-Atlantic. We'll cross through our area Thursday into Friday. That's what we dropped so far. So temperatures dropping 10 to 15 degrees between Thursday and Friday. And then we try our best to rebound back to the lower 50s on Sunday. But our normal high temperature right there in the top right corner is 58 degrees. So as you see, through the next 7 days, we should stay below normal. Now, if you've enjoyed our Weather Plus and enjoyed seeing all the weather from across the nation and here locally in the Mid-Atlantic, to learn more, to see more, I post on my social media. You can find me at Meteorologist Taylor Stephenson on Facebook, on Instagram, and TikTok at TDStars. TDSTARZ is my name on both of those apps. But we also do this stream every day during the weekday mornings, so Monday through Friday. And it's best to get the latest updates, to get more in-depth news and weather. Download our 13 News Now Plus app. It gives you everything. It is free on the App Store and on Google Play. Everything you need to know about local news and weather, and even now, national weather from our Weather Plus streams every day will be on this app for free. You can download it on your TV from Fire TV, Apple TV, or Roku. You can also download the 13 News Now app on your iPhone or your Google phone Any cellular device that does have that smart capability will have this app. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you again tomorrow at 9 a.m.